G'day, my name is BJ Barlin from Envirovision, here today to show you a little bit about our energy monitoring product called Enviroview, what it's about and how it works. So if we look, getting straight into it, look at our mains tab here on the left hand side where my mouse is, you'll see that at the moment we're using 6.758 kilowatts here at our head office, and the gauge shows you where that sits. The reason that it's got the green and the -2 is when you have solar on your installation, it can actually show you how much your solar is calculating as well, and brings up another gauge over here that shows you the solar. The loads here is showing what the loads are actually are using right at this point, and what you can do is actually click on this View Totals tab, and what it'll do is take you to those loads to view those totals and what they're doing in real life time. So once I've clicked on that, you can see what I've got here is every 10 seconds the unit updates. The graph at the right shows you what you're using and a percentage of what you're using as overall. You'll see here the little sort of heart monitor, it shows you the different circuits and how they're going. Now you'll see here the aircon has just sparked up, which means that the heating's just kicked in. It's a little bit cold here today, and you can see the compressor cycling in and out. If you have a look up here to the left, it shows how much lights are using right now, how much power, how much the AC is using, and how much hot water we're using. The reason that the lights can show a few different circuits is that we can actually break the circuits up into groups. So here we've got the lights in our HVAC room, level 1 lights and the high bay lights. So it shows us exactly those 3 circuits on what we're going to do. The unit itself is very expandable. We can do from, basically from 3 circuits, which would be either single phase or your mains, right up to 180 single phase circuits or 63 phase circuits. If I go back to the dashboard here, it also gives us live recording on what we've done for the day. So when you first open the screen up, you'll see here on your left hand side there's the cost, kilowatt hours, how much water we've used, how much gas we've used today, and how much CO2 we've put into the atmosphere. The unit itself then breaks that up, and you can see your peaks and troughs with this graph, and also on the right hand side with the pie chart you can click on it and it actually shows you that, well, hey, 49% of what we've used today has just been the power, 33% has been the lights, hot water's been 4.2%, and AC's been 14%. So then straight away we know, well, hey, what in our power circuit are we using that's actually it's costing us the money? If you click on the month view of the unit, it will then update you and tell you how much power how much it's cost you for the month, kilowatt hours, H2O, and so forth. And what this does on the side is that then breaks that down for your monthly view. Now you can see here that that was a long weekend for 3 days, and it actually shows you on the weekends that obviously no one's been working here at work. So it gives you a really good indication on what's it costing you. You can see here that it's still costing us on a weekend. We're still using 12.027 kilowatt hours, and that could be the hot water service or a bunch of different things. But by the look of it, there's still a bit of power there, and the orange, which is our AC, looks like it sort of gets left on. But that can also be standby power. You can click on the yearly view, and the yearly view will then show you what it's cost you for the year. So we've spent this so far this year from January, $1,400, kilowatt hours, H2O, and so forth. We can then also go here into the history side of things, and when you look at the history, you can actually go to a certain day. So we go into April, and so click on the 4th. We can get the data. Then we can look on the 4th and see exactly what that's cost us. So I can then break that down and find out exactly what it's cost us for those days. So if I want to look at those days and say I want to go to the 4th of April again and get the data, then I can see what that aircon unit has cost me for that day. So this then shows you, hey, well, I know for that day the cost has been $1.79. What the unit's also really good for is if you want to also analyse your electrical loads. So your electrical loads, then you click on that tab and it shows you every single one of your electrical loads for the day, month or the year. If I click back on the day, it's gone from midnight to 4 PM. I can have a look at the electrical supply, which shows me what the supply is, and I've obviously got a circuit here that's not accounted for. I can have a look at the water or the gas. So I've actually got no recording for water and gas, so we've just put some dummy figures in there for the moment. I can then analyse the totals, which takes us back to this screen and allows us then to see hot water, AC, power, and I can analyse those individually. So I can see with my power circuits, ground power, kitchen, appliances. I can see with my lights, as we showed before, level 1 lights, high bay lights, and the total of lights. And then I can also see what my mains are costing me per phase. So there's, you know, red, white and blue phase. So blue phase, white phase, red phase. So it can show you then what all those differences are. If we go back to the unit and have a bit of a look into the setup side of things, you can see with the setup here, email address, name service. So it can send me an email once a day. It can send me an email weekly, it can send me an email monthly, or I don't want to see email at all. It tells us here's our time settings, can enable daylight savings. Also allows me to set different electricity tariffs for different times of the day, and also different circuits. Here is our CO2 levels, and this is where we can also set what our gas and what our water costs us. This server name here is just so the actual unit, when it's connected to the internet, knows where to go to find that setup. Have a look quickly in the network setup. This is basically where you get your network boffins to set up where it is and what it's all about, so you can get onto the internet. The box setup, as I said before, the unit itself can actually do up to 180 circuits. Now if you have a look here, this thing here, along here, can do 6 single phase circuits or 2 3-phase circuits, and you can keep adding these boxes depending on how many exact circuits that you want. This unit here is the web. Now this is the main unit that allows you, basically, it's got a web server built on board, which is up in here. It's got a memory stick, an external memory stick that houses 5 years worth of data, and this is just some power and USB select, eject and so forth. So you can eject the memory stick and get the information off that. The unit has 4 pulse inputs, which allows you then to have potentially 2 water meters, 2 gas meters, or maybe 4 gas meters, however you want to configure it, and then CT 1, 2 and 3. So basically the EV web unit is a brain on its own. And what you need then, if you want to do any more than 3 circuits, is you then need to have a 6 CT. So with the EV web and the 6 CT, you can then monitor 9 circuits, 4 pulse inputs. Why would you use pulse inputs? Well, a lot of water meters have pulse inputs or pulse outputs. A lot of gas meters have pulse outputs. You can also use pulse inputs or outputs for electricity meters. So if you want to check a meter, it may have a pulse output and you can utilise it that way. Save you having to worry about actually hooking up to your mains. If I go back into here, we've got a group set up. Now this is where we can actually assign circuits to different groups. So you might have 10 lighting circuits in your building, or you might have 2 lighting circuits in your building. This is where you can set all your different groups. You can have up to 20 different groups. As you can see here, you've also got water and gas groups. So here I've got lights, power, M600, so I could change that M600 because we were using that for a customer. I could change that possibly to power, ground. Update that, and now power ground will be part of my group setup. Circuit setup, this is where you have all your individual circuits and you can actually edit that circuit. So say for example, you can see here I've got blue phase, white phase, red phase, which are our mains. They're in our mains group. HVAC is in our lights. So if I want to change that, I'll change the name of that HVAC to the workshop lights. It says what tariff would you want it in, so I want it on tariff 1 because I know that's the main tariff that it's in. I can update that, and then it shows me, well, hey, the workshop light, here it is here, it's using 000.1, so absolutely bugger all at the moment, and shows me exactly, and this power box shows you what you're using at present time. This here shows you what tariff you're on, so we've got red, white and blue phase. I haven't put a tariff in those, that's our mains, probably should put a tariff in there. Put that in as tariff 1. Put this one in as tariff 1. Put this one in as tariff 1. And then you can see I've got down here all my other ones. So I know that my hot water is a different tariff, that's tariff 2. I can update that. And now that will record my hot water at that set tariff. Have a look here at system maintenance. This is basically where you can update the firmware, or it does it itself. Remove USB, restore default and so forth. So this is where you can also clear the whole unit if you need to remove it from one place and put it back into another. So if we go back into the dashboard, just a quick sum up, basically we then want to look here and go back into my electrical load or electrical supply, and it will show us then exactly what I've done for the day. So that's our Envirovision. I hope it's answered your questions. If not, please have a look on our website, envirovision.net.au. Cheers.